Hey y'all, hope your day is going well. Want to show you a couple things I've been working on my music production journey. I'm very new to this, so none of what I'm doing probably makes sense to anybody who's professional about this, but I got really inspired by this cool plugin that my roommate showed me and was actually gracious enough to be gifted is Harmony Bloom by Mario Nieto, and it's this cool little orbital sequencer plugin where the notes go around, and as they pass over the strings they strike them and play the different synth instruments and things like that. You can affect the settings on how the notes shift, change, how they spiral outwards, how many notes there are, how long the notes last, loop length, probability of strings getting hit, and a bunch of other different settings. I will definitely have his channel linked down below for you guys to go check this out, and definitely recommend playing with it. Another thing it can do is it can separate its channels for the different strings, so I can set these to different channels, and I thought, oh, that's really cool, which means I can have the same moment of Harmony Bloom playing 8 different instruments at a time, and that's really cool. You can have like different notes. And my first experiment was I made like a little drum sequence, and that didn't seem like too special, and I'm still kind of ironing it out to make it cool, because the only thing is everything is equally spaced by 8. So to get around that, you do kind of affect Harmony Bloom outside of itself to kind of have some wacky results. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Is I wanted to see if I can make Harmony Bloom playing a single MIDI note able to play an entire track. So to start experimenting with that, what I did was in Waveform there is a little patcher plugin thing where you can create plugin racks, and all I did was I took Harmony Bloom in here and got it set up, and I was playing around with this, having different instruments in here, but what I found is something Waveform offers, which is a MIDI patch bay, which in here I can block channels to have only certain outputs come out. So if I wanted to separate what Harmony Bloom was doing efficiently, then all I have to do is tell the certain channels which ones that they're allowed to play on, and I'm able to split the output from Harmony Bloom and have this go to different instruments. And I'm like, okay, that's really cool. So now I have this, and now string 1 will play whatever the first instrument is, and string 2 will play whatever the second instrument is, as long as this is true. And I can affect which things will play on which ones, and you can control this with CC controls. And then you can actually control that even further by having this randomized as well, of what channels it can do, so you can map out the channels. And then you can also, as we're going to see a little bit later, decide how the channel strings are going to be mapped to your instruments as well. So this separates the bass capabilities of Harmony Bloom from just being a couple button clicks to being able to really randomize it to its fullest extent, while still being able to control every single layer of the process, so that you can create some really consistent and unique sounds. So to kind of show you the bass project I made on this is I've actually made a bass Harmony Bloom multi-out plugin where I've already separated out these on their defaults, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and so on. Then I've also added some LFO modifier triggers that are controlling whether or not the strings inside Harmony Bloom will turn on and off. Currently they're all inactive, but 2 through 7 will then randomly turn on and off. The only reason I want to keep number 1 on is if you randomize everything, such as using the probability in Harmony Bloom, is sometimes a note will not be struck for a very long time, and there will be a bunch of empty space and silence, and I wanted to avoid that. So basically this setup guarantees that at least one string will be struck at that bass string, and it avoids the need for the probability inaccuracies in Harmony Bloom. So yeah, we can take this to drums, percussion, our vocals, our lead, our backups, all of those other things, and then route them out and map them how we want. Again, with those 3 separate layers where we can control what channels they go out on, we can control what information those channel signals go out on, so we can then split it up further or consolidate it more, however we want. And then we can route these to multiple different outputs. So let's say we have this hooked up to our drums and we want them to activate. We can hook multiple channel strings up to where the drums go. And those are 3 different layers that, yes, can be consolidated down to one set if we wanted to. But this way, with it completely expanded, you can play with every single layer and create some interesting noises. So one thing I was inspired to do by Mario specifically is he makes a lot of tranquil, kind of calming type of vibe, type of music on his stream. And I wanted to make something kind of similar, kind of homage to it a little bit. And what I've done here is I've set up some tranquil instruments, and as you can see here, I have multiple strings going to this vital sound, which is just a bell, which will play anytime a string is active, just to give that consistent sense throughout the song. Now, I could have set this up on, again, it's channel 2, and all I had to do was tell this to play all 8 of the channels instead of having all of these strings routed. But I then can affect this further. Let's say I wanted to do, something over here to do something different. I can then affect the song more by keeping it separated out into its multiple layers. So like you can see, it can be consolidated, but I don't want it to be. I want to have full control of those little parts. And we'll have a nice white one today. And what we'll do is we'll give this a run. So as it goes around, it'll randomly generate a tune, but always play that bass at the note duration so that there's always a sound going on. So there's never a sense of emptiness. But it's a calming effect. But sometimes something interesting happens when random sound effects play. And you can get really specific on how your sounds behave and how your sounds act by changing all the different parameters in Harmony Bloom. I just have this set to 2 notes, which is the minimum Harmony Bloom can do. One of them is turned off, and then it's just orbiting at a constant 1-to-1 speed around the center, striking it in a 4-bar loop length, and each note is lasting for 8 seconds in its respective instrument. Now, not all sounds last for the whole 8 seconds, but they have a lingering delay to get that to kind of line up. So the final brainchild of this is I made a horror track that I was super into. I deep dove on this, played with a bunch of settings. I'm still working on it, but I decided I really wanted to show you guys the culmination and what is possible on this effect once you start playing around with everything. So again, it's the same type of spaghetti mess. Very simple modifier setup. This will change, and I will be, adding more settings and quirks and having these, do different routes and different things to really create something random. But let's give this a listen to and just see how different this sound is from the first. Sometimes a couple of my instruments glitch and keep playing songs. I apologize about about that. But I hope you guys really enjoyed that little project, and I look forward to keep experimenting with Harmony Bloom. Glad you guys came to hang out. Have a wonderful rest of your day.